Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to take a very deep look into one of the most shocking developments coming out of Russia in recent months. For years, the Kremlin has maintained absolute control over its propaganda machine, polishing its exterior image to the world and to its citizens as a strong, unshakable empire under Vladimir Putin. But now cracks are starting to show in that carefully constructed image, and even Kremlin-backed voices are beginning to declare that Russia has already lost the war. This is not a small shift. It is a complete reversal of the narrative that has been forced on the Russian people for years. And in order to understand its full implications, we need to break it down piece by piece, much like reviewing every detail of a complex machine. On the surface, the Kremlin has always presented itself as indestructible. It displayed power through military parades, strong rhetoric, and controlled media channels that insisted Russia was destined to win no matter the odds. This exterior was meant to impress the Russian people and intimidate the rest of the world. Yet, just like a glossy exterior on a vehicle that hides rust beneath the paint, the outside presentation has started to peel away, revealing the reality underneath. What once seemed like an unbreakable shield is now clearly vulnerable. Propaganda figures that once echoed only victory chants are beginning to let slip words of defeat, and that change is something no one expected so openly. Stepping inside the Kremlin's messaging, the interior is far less impressive than it used to be. The short truth is that the propaganda no longer has cohesion. Once tightly organized and disciplined, with every voice repeating the same message, it is now a mess of contradictions. State TV anchors who used to be calm and authoritative now sound nervous, defensive, and in some cases even angry with their own government. Instead of harmony, there is chaos, and the lack of confidence within these voices tells us more about the state of Russia's leadership than official statements ever could. The interior is cramped, confused, and collapsing under pressure, and the cracks are spreading fast. When we talk about performance, the propaganda machine once ran as smoothly as a high-powered engine. It manipulated the population effectively, crushed opposition voices, and ensured Putin's approval remained high even during difficult times. But now that performance has deteriorated, like an engine choking on its own fumes, the system is struggling to keep going. Every battlefield setback for Russia exposes more weaknesses, and no matter how hard the propaganda machine tries, it cannot cover up the visible losses of soldiers, equipment, and morale. Instead of motivating the public to support the war effort, the messaging is dragging people down, spreading doubt and exhaustion. The once hyper-forming system is now sputtering and close to seizing up entirely. For years, the safety features of Kremlin propaganda were its strongest qualities. It acted like airbags designed to protect Putin from direct criticism. Whenever things went wrong, blame could be shifted to generals, to foreign powers, or to some fabricated internal enemies. Putin was kept above the fray, untouchable and beyond reproach. But those safety features are now malfunctioning. By openly suggesting Russia has already lost the war, state media figures have shattered the shield that once protected the leader. Instead of absorbing the impact, the propaganda is now transferring the shock directly onto Putin himself. The very system designed to keep him safe is now exposing him to greater danger than ever before. The unique selling point of Kremlin propaganda used to be its loyalty and its consistency. No matter what reality was, the message was always the same. Russia is strong, Russia is united, and Russia will win. That consistency created a sense of stability for citizens who had no choice but to believe what they were told. Yet that selling point is gone, with conflicting voices, with state-aligned figures openly acknowledging defeat, and with contradictions piling up. The machine has lost its edge. Without unity, without loyalty, and without reliability, it can no longer be marketed as the unshakable voice of Russian strength. Instead, it looks more like a broken speaker crackling with static. But nothing in this world comes without a price, and the cost of this propaganda collapse is enormous. For Russia as a state, the cost is measured in the loss of credibility both at home and abroad. Citizens who hear doubt from state channels begin to wonder if the sacrifices they are making are even worth it. Soldiers on the front lines hear whispers that victory is impossible, and morale plummets. Allies who once believed in Russia's strength are starting to question whether they placed their bets on the wrong side. For Putin personally, the price is even higher. His authority depends on control, and without control of the narrative, he risks losing control of the nation itself. When we think about how propaganda works, it is much like a performance where every actor has a role to play. For years, those actors knew their lines perfectly and never made a mistake. Now they are forgetting their cues, missing their marks, and in some cases refusing to play the part at all. This makes the entire performance look weak and unconvincing. Audiences at home and abroad are no longer entertained, no longer convinced, and no longer willing to believe. The curtain has been pulled back, and the show has lost its magic. The once tight production has turned into a disorganized improvisation that nobody respects. The bigger danger lies in what happens next. When propaganda loses its power, people begin to search for the truth. And when they find that truth, it often leads to anger, frustration, and resistance. In Russia's case, citizens are waking up to the reality that the war has cost them lives, resources, and international standing, all for an outcome that propaganda can no longer disguise as victory. This realization could trigger unrest, dissent, and even rebellion against the leadership. In that sense, the collapse of propaganda is not just a media failure, it is a political crisis. The shift we are witnessing is also historic. Rarely in modern history do authoritarian regimes allow cracks like these to show publicly. The fact that Kremlin-backed voices are daring to suggest failure tells us that the system is under more strain than it can handle. It means the top-down control is slipping, and once that control is gone, regaining it becomes almost impossible. Putin's image has always been built on strength and inevitability, but now even his closest instruments are whispering weakness and defeat. For a leader who relies on fear and dominance, this is the most dangerous loss imaginable. The conclusion is clear. Kremlin propaganda, once the strongest weapon in Putin's arsenal, has become his biggest liability. The shiny exterior is cracked, the interior is confused, the performance is failing, the safety features are broken, the unique selling points have vanished, and the price is devastating. Russia's carefully controlled narrative has collapsed under its own weight, and that collapse could speed up the downfall of the very man it was designed to protect. History shows us again and again that when a leader loses control of the story, he loses control of the people. And when he loses control of the people, his time in power is already counting down. That is the reality of what we are witnessing. It is not just propaganda failing. It is a regime unraveling from the inside. And as we watch this dramatic shift unfold, the message is clear. Russia's war may already be lost not just on the battlefield, but in the minds of its own people. And once that happens, there is no propaganda strong enough to bring it back.